to allow me, folks, to tell you a little bit about our speaker this evening, because Charles Montgomery has spent most of his life as a sales manager for a subsidiary of Reader's Digest. Now, when he was forced from his corporate job, his search for a new profession brought him to online marketing. And within 4 months, he was able to duplicate the monthly income that had taken him 32 years to build. Now, obviously, his skills as an online marketer developed quickly, among other reasons due to some great support from some of the world-class marketers that he studied. Now, he has trained on many different aspects of online marketing and has provided webinars to people literally all over the world on many different topics. And, you know, folks, giving back to the online marketing community is one of the skills that you will always see in people who have found the path to profits from a home business and online marketing. And in tonight's webinar, Charles Montgomery is going to share some of the skills he is implementing to drive traffic using search engine optimization with the help of his friends. And yes, by the way, folks, it is possible to replace the incredible number of leads we used to get with all those old methods. So get ready to learn some great fresh ideas tonight from Charles Montgomery and his teleclass, Search Engine Optimization Can Generate Massive Leads, so why do it alone? Welcome to Global Teleclass, Charles.
Hey, how are you, David? Thank you for the great introduction. And it's an honor to
Thank
be
you for
here.
being here.
Good. Can you see my screen now? I just want to double check.
I'm going to turn the controls over to you right now.
Okay, I think we should be just about set. I just want to make sure that my screen's visible.
Here we go.
Cool.
Looks beautiful, just the way we practiced it.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody to this class. This is the second time I've done this, and the first time was such a joy for me that when I was asked to come back and do a repeat performance, I needed to find something I could work with. Now, I'm going to promise you that SEO, almost every time you hear somebody talking about it, it's usually a technical presentation. And one of the things I try very hard to do in my seminars and webinars is to try to make the conversation something that everybody can understand. Now, just the term SEO does make it a little bit technical, but I promise you that I'm going to try to boil it down so that you have every chance to understand this if you don't already. If you happen to be an SEO guru, welcome aboard, and I'm looking forward to share my ideas and possibly even have some feedback at a later point via email about what you think and where we can line up and put some things together. So why don't we get started? Just as a disclaimer, I am recording this for my own personal use, and I just wanted everybody to know that. If you are not able to watch it as a webinar right now, you can always come back to charlesmontgomery.com, which is my personal blog, and I have a webinar area there. It'll probably take me a day or two to get it up there, but eventually this will be available to use and watch it whenever you want to do it. I know Saturday afternoon's a big time to just watch a webinar from somebody, so it'll be there shortly. All right, so just a little bit about who I am. You heard that I work for Reader's Digest. We have that part down, but I grew up in the Massachusetts area. My dad was a Army person, and I grew up as what we call an Army brat. Graduated from Boston Conservatory of Music and started my career in life as a music teacher up in New Hampshire, where I taught for 5 or 6 years. And then I realized that I just couldn't make enough money to take care of 2 cars, a cat and a dog, and children and all that. And I went out into the sales arena and started my life as a salesperson. Eventually, I became very successful in that field and worked my way through the management team. And at the time that I retired, I was a regional sales manager, managing 50 people in the Northeast sector. Now, if any of you had students or kids that went to public school, parochial school, and they got involved in the magazine drive, I was the person that was behind that. That's actually what I did for a long time, was sit in those assemblies and talk to them and sent them home to get all the little weeples and all those kinds of things. My personal online marketing and training started about 2009, and I was pushed out of my out of my corporate job at that point in time, just due to what's going on in the economy and everything else. And I just wasn't ready to stop. I needed to find something to do, and I got involved in online marketing. It's been some uphill and downhill experiences, But the main thing is I've learned so much, and I try to share what I've learned because I know that there's a lot of people on this call right now that continue to try to find the answer how to make this work. And I think I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you a solution that allows you to also be involved. So what I've really done is kind of developed a universal solution to lead flow, and I'm going to share that with you after a little bit of understanding about where I'm going with this. So you heard David talk a little bit about search engine optimization, and I just want to share a little bit more with you to try to do it visual. I try very hard to do some visuals. Some of us learn listening, some we learn seeing things. And so what I want to do is to have you understand that every time you go to Google and you look for something, a pair of sneakers, a piece of software, a book from Amazon.com, most of us bring up the Google search engine. We type something in the little box up here at the top, and whenever it comes back, which are the listings down here, represents what it is we're looking for. So that becomes search engine optimization, and every one of the sites here have their pages and websites coded with special information that allows Google or any of the other search engines here to realize that there's a page out there that has something about that pair of sneakers that you're looking for, and then they give you an opportunity to see some pages that would relate to that. And that's basically what search engine optimization is. Now, how does it work for the person in the background? And I'm just showing this slide, which is a little bit techy, but not that big a deal. These are the kinds of things that these pages have on them. And when you really get involved in SEO, you start to have the title has to be very key to what's going on. The description of the page is key to what's going on. And the keywords that it's representing have to be important as to what to go on. And Google or all the other search engines, they reference all of this material. And if I happen to be looking for yard sings, they would simply search anything they have in their search engine. They'll serve up any page that would have anything to do with the page that I put up on the website. So that's how the average person, that's the basic concept of making a page, a picture, a sentence, a download, it doesn't matter what it is, SEO readable by all the major search engines. So what can you expect tonight? I'm going to give you an honest conversation about SEO leads, what they are and what they aren't, what you can and what you can't do, from my opinion. I'm going to give you some basic concepts that are going to give you a sound structure for your own lead generation. I'll teach you some things that you must do, some ideas that you must do, and a plan that's going to increase your efforts many times over. I'm also going to talk to you about a plan to be part of a team effort. And this is the project that I'm working on, and I would love to have everybody in this group right now consider being part of those teams. And that's what it's all about, this team effort, and you'll hear as we go along. So let me give you a little bit of history about Google. And you heard David talk about the good old times with Google. Google drives the bus all the time. You know, Bing and all the others, they're very, very important to us, and they have a key component in SEO and serving up web pages. But really, to tell you the truth, whatever Google does goes the world. And it doesn't matter. They are such a powerful company, and they really control most of what happens on the internet because of the things that they do and the things that they allow people to see. So most of us that started as marketers back in this 2009 period got to enjoy a thing we all call it the Google slap. You heard David mention it. And basically what happened in the Google slap is marketers like myself were disrespectful to the search engines. And we were putting out leads out there that would say, you know, make $1 million in 3 days, you know, have the best day you ever had, 5,000 leads a week. They were claims that were not really substantiated, but Google allowed us to do it because they wanted to have the money for the advertising. But what finally happened was a lot of people said, wait a minute, you know, you can't do that. How can you do false advertising? And the SEC started to crack down on them. And for almost everybody out there, and I'm sure I have many that are on this call right now, at one point in time, it was on one weekend, everybody got slapped, and anybody that had content like that got shut down immediately. So all of the free lunches, as I call them, everybody that was working along, all of a sudden were out of business, and their sites weren't generating any leads whatsoever, which meant their business wasn't generating any leads, and they weren't generating any income. And it's been a very difficult time since then until SEO came along. And many, many people have looked at SEO for the salvation to get this lead structure and this lead flow going back again. So everyone and their brother has been trying to find a way to leverage Google just as they had in the past, and that's one of the problems. I'm here to tell you that it can't be done. And there's absolutely no way that you're going to take advantage of Google. You might get away with it for a day or a week or 5 weeks or 3 months. But I guarantee you, anybody here that's trying to take advantage of Google will eventually be shut down and stopped because they are way smarter and they have way 10 times, billions of times more information than you and I have about what's going on. And I'm going to show you some of what's happening right now that makes SEO so valuable and makes doing it the right way so valuable and being part of a team is so valuable. So the sadness in marketing today is that every great online marketer is searching for the magic bullet. We all think we have the answer to how it can be done. The leaders in the marketing, in online marketing, make their living by getting others to follow them. And they promise a lifestyle just like theirs. It's definitely possible to do. I've had many follow, but I also know that for a lot of people it's not as easy as it sounds. And that's what this webinar is going to address. We're going to level the playing field and give everyone on this webinar an opportunity to generate traffic, because I know that everybody here can't figure out every little nuance of how to do this. I'm going to show you how that works. So really, let's talk a little bit about Google, because this is the foundation of being able to generate traffic on Google. And the formula is pretty simple. Google wants one thing and one thing only, and that's good content. Now, the good content goes on your site and other sites link to it, and as that simple process, having good content and sites that realize you have good content and connect to you to share it with others, Google picks up on that, and they know every place that's happening, and they know every piece of content, and they know if somebody's using the same content twice. They know if people are trying to juice the system or take advantage of the system, and they immediately step in and take over. So the whole rest of this presentation is going to be discussing or talking or pointing towards you and I having the responsibility to generate good content and provide information for the SEO search engines that is centered around good content. When you do that, you and Google are going to be friends. So here's where we are. Here's how it works. All Google cares about is content. And if Google serves up great content every time someone does a search for something, people will continue to always use Google. Every day there's probably somebody else that thinks of a way, I'm going to do this search engine or that search engine, and we've seen huge companies like Bing and Yahoo, and there's hundreds of search engines out there. It's not just the major ones we know about. And these people have a lot of money and a lot of power, but they don't even come close to generating or driving the traffic that Google does. And the reason is because we've all learned that if you want something, you can always find it at Google. And everybody's learned that for a long time, and that's what we do. Now, the minute that breaks down for Google is when what they serve up just is trash, it's garbage. And they're not going to allow that to happen. So while all of us clever marketers in the past were always trying to find a way to beat the system, Google always had to find a way to stop that, because that meant they were serving up traffic that had no value to anyone whatsoever. The Google money machine continues on, and they're controlling it, and they're keeping their destiny in a positive frame because they will not allow content that is not relevant and doesn't have value to the community. That's you and I that are looking for a pair of sneakers, and when we go to the sneakers, we don't wind up at a fishing boat site. So that's the key here, and that's where this is going. Now, the latest hurdle Google has done, and please remember, it's all about content, and I'm going to tell you about this one. Some of us may know, some may not know. It's been around for about 4 months, but this is a very significant shift for Google, and it's one of the things that got me started on the path that I'm on here tonight for all of you to enjoy. So here's what Google said. This is straight from Google, a quote from Google. Many of the changes we make are so subtle that very few people notice them. This is Google in a statement stating that, most people don't understand what we do, and the changes, really, you never see anything. But in the last day or so, we launched a pretty big algorithm An algorithm is a mathematical formula that they use to evaluate pages and what's going to be showing and what's not. A big algorithmic improvement to our ranking. A change that noticeably impacts 11.8% of all queries. The term query is a search or people querying for some information and they're out there looking for it. And we wanted to let people know what's going on. This update is designed to reduce rankings for low quality sites. Now here's the term. This is a very, very key term, this low quality site term, because that relates to content. A site that is not serving content, a site that's just got junk out there, is what they call a low quality site, and they do not want them in their search engines. Sites which are low value add for users. Okay, copy content from other websites. So that means if you have a website and your website is made because you went out and copied and pasted content from a bunch of other websites to make yours, Google knows that, because they have referenced every single sentence, every statement, paragraph that's out there. And when they find a duplicate to it, they go and they find out what's going on. And if you happen to be the wrong end of the copy, you get shut down, you don't get traffic, you're never going to go anywhere in the SEO search engines because you're not providing good content. And it really is, they really are able to do that. And they just flow through it with this algorithm and they pick them up. So copy content from other websites or sites that are just not very useful. At the same time, it will provide better rankings for high quality sites, sites with original content and information such as research, in-depth reports, thoughtful analysis, and so on. Now, most of us don't do a lot of in-depth reports on our websites. You know, no one goes to a website looking for something to do, a home business, buying sneakers, and they want to read an entire detailed report about how the sneakers were made. But it doesn't hurt to have that kind of information someplace on the website, and Google ranks that type of information very high. Doesn't mean that people have to read it, just means it has to be there on your site, and it adds credible content to your site that Google likes and wants to reward people that do that. So very thoughtful analysis and so on. So I hope everybody understands where Google's at. They are not going to tolerate junk, and they're not going to tolerate some of the things. I'll show you a few of the other things that I am suspect to, things that I've always done and did, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call still do. I really think it's not a good investment of your time and energy. So we all know as marketers, and it really doesn't matter whether you're an internet marketer selling juices and pills and potions and lotions, or whether you're somebody that's an investment broker or you happen to have a rental car facility, it really doesn't matter. The internet becomes a source of leads for you. Traffic is just like people coming through the door, front door of your store. And the leads, when you start generating leads on the internet, that means that you have to have a web page that people can go to, and they are going to see something that has a value to them, and they're excited enough that they're going to put their name and email address in. They become a lead, and thus we go to the next step, which is where we contact the lead and we move on. For all of you people, us, myself, that do this every day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's nothing worse than poor quality leads that take up time to contact. That's why I work very hard at working on a very small traffic formula that I know the people that are coming to my website have an interest in what it is I'm trying to do. So this whole thing about selling things on the internet, it really starts with leads. And if you can't generate leads, you can't sell anything on the internet. It's just that simple. So every business needs leads. And imagine a retail store with no doors for people to come in to shop. Grow your business, marketing materials and resources. You don't have a chance of growing your business if you can't get people inside your store. We have to find a way to generate targeted leads at reasonable price, return on investment. That's really the big thing. Now, unfortunately for me, back in those Google slap days, I had months where I spent an incredible amount of money, and I look back at it now and I'm thinking, that really was so silly. If I had ever got involved back in SEO back then and done something legitimate, I would not have been slapped once or twice or three times trying to reinvent myself every time. And I know that I spent an incredible amount of money trying to generate leads through the search engines And most of those, I shouldn't say most of them, a lot of the leads weren't valid ones because we would just throw as many keywords out as we wanted, write as many ads as we wanted, and bring things in. So it's just not as easy to do that anymore. So here's some common solutions that most people use that focus around this lead generation concept. Some people buy leads. It's very difficult to buy very targeted leads. There are ways to do it. They're usually very expensive. Anybody I know that if you happen to be on this call and you're a mortgage broker or a real estate agent or insurance salesperson, you buy leads, and a lot of those people are willing to pay anywhere from $50 to $100 to get one lead because those leads are very particular. They're very finite, and usually those kinds of leads that come in have a high rate of return for them, so they're willing to pay for it. In the online marketing area, our leads usually cost anywhere from $3.50 to $15. It's kind of a window that we try to stay in to make it profitable. And at that point, that's even tough. But I can tell you at $3.50 a lead for a brand new person coming into online marketing, that's a very hefty expense and causes a lot of confusion, and people stay away from it just because they don't understand it. Thus, their business and their marketing activities never move on. You can do videos, which is an excellent way. YouTube happens to be owned by Google. So once you learn how to do videos, which is a very easy thing to do, a 2-minute video can generate a tremendous amount of traffic provided that video is SEO'd and the video has keywords that relate to your site and they're placed in the proper spots so that when people come to watch your video, again, they're getting solid content. Google controls all that content because of the fact that they own YouTube, so that means they have control of where those videos are going. If most of you, if you belong to any kind of a sales organization, an online marketing organization, almost every time you join, a newbie or a brand new person is always told, do videos, do articles, do blogs, do this, do that. There are all these things, and we tell a lot of people to do that because we don't really have a major, simple, clear-cut path for everybody to generate leads. So we always work around this set formula of do videos, do articles, to go on Craigslist, do all these kinds of things. And if you're on this call right now and you've done that, it's not an easy process. You know that you don't generate a lot of leads. I've had members on my team that have done it for 4 months and not gotten one lead out of it. Now, does that mean they're not good at it? I don't know. Does it mean that if you don't do it just right, it's not going to generate traffic? Probably so. So, buying leads, doing videos, doing articles, the SEO on the website, which we're going to talk about, buying banner ads, which has been around for a long time, but really hot right now for a lot of people that have kind of fallen out of grace with a lot of these other things. And really doing them all combined is what most people that are experienced marketers, they work at trying to put together a combination of all those different efforts. So we're going to talk about those again in a minute here, but when you first come into this business, this is kind of the path that most people get directed on. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the process of doing SEO. This is, again, not a technical conversation, but just to have people understand, because there are so many people, they hear the term, they don't want to admit they don't know what it is. And I have to be honest with you, for a long time, I really didn't know what it was. It took a lot of reading and a lot of research on my part. But really simple, every time that you decide that you're going to do something with SEO, the first thing you have to do is decide on a keyword. And the keyword needs to be something that's related to what your website's going to be. That if you are able to build a website that is built around one keyword and everything you do is focused on that one keyword, your SEO experience with that specific site is going to be much more powerful than if you're trying to target 10, 15, 20, 30 keywords on a website. You just can't do enough writing and enough blogging and enough posting and enough content to really cover that. So you're much better off to focus and really sit down. What is my website going to be about? So there's really three kinds of, I'm trying to show how I target keywords when I do it. There's what I call just a generic niche or a generic keyword, and that would be the word jobs. And to get ready for this presentation this afternoon, I went out to the Google keyword tool and I looked. It's free. It's just one of those things. If you've never been there, you should go there. And you just Google for Google keyword tool and you go out there. Anybody can use it. And you would type in some niche market that you have an interest in and put a keyword in. So the keyword that I put in was jobs. And it came back and told me that there's 185 million people per month that Google that specific term, the word jobs. Now, how would you like to have 10% of 185 million pieces of traffic every day? If you want to get a little more finite with it, so even though you have less people going to a keyword, but it's a more direct keyword, you have a better chance of relating your site to one keyword. Then you look at the term jobs in California, and that particular keyword has 1.2 million people that look at it every month. Still a pretty great way to make a living. And then if you get to what is called a longer tail keyword, then you get to the point where it says driving jobs in California. Now, if you look at the little funnel that I have here, you'll see that the long tail keyword, this one up here, is much more easy to optimize than the short tail keyword jobs. And it's possible for me to get a website there, but it's going to be very difficult for anybody to ever find my website on the word jobs unless I'm a rocket scientist at SEO. If I was trying to build a website that 6,600 people are going to see, I have a much better chance. And that's why I've done this representation here, to get you to understand that the keyword that you pick to start to build your website is so important. We're not going to go to all the detail of how to pick keywords. I just want you to understand it's where the basis starts from. And as you start to put together any kind of an effort that's SEO, you need to know what your keyword is going to be, and you need to focus all your energy on that keyword. So here's how this thing works. I actually went in and I put in the key terms in the search engine, jobs in California, which was the keyword that I just had that was easy to optimize. And you can see that I actually came back with some jobs in California. And just so you know, that the top 3 listings right here, the top 3 listings in what they call the organic search engine, and I didn't do a slide on that, but just so I can explain it. Organic means that this is free and it's based on content on websites. And Google serves it up because that's why people go to Google. There's also paid advertising, which means people are paying to have their ad, and that will always be above these 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 spots, depending on how competitive or how big of a keyword it is. But the organic searches are ones that have earned the right to be there because the content of their website matches up exactly with what the person typed in, jobs in California. These 3 links right here, these 3 slots, grab 85% of the lead traffic of everything comes in. Think about your own surfing. If you want a pair of sneakers, you put in Nike sneakers, and usually the very first one, you know that the one that's at the top is the one that's going to provide the best content for you to look at, so that's where you go. It doesn't always mean that's where you're going to buy them at, but that's generally where you go because we have learned that the best ones are at the top, and that's exactly the way that it works. So this particular site, I then went out and I looked at this particular site. And this is really, it's a site that's very generic in a way because you'll notice up here, these are California jobs, but I can change it if I want. But these guys are so good at their SEO stuff that they have this website that when a page is up and it's just California, that Google sees all that content about California, and all of the things in this site revolve around that term. Explore jobs in California, companies that are in California. And it all works that way because when they've done the search California jobs, if I was on this website live and I did it, and I wanted to look at jobs in Illinois, this would change to search Illinois jobs. Very, very good. It's very practical. When you get here as a consumer, you say, I found the place I want. You're very happy, and Google loves you too, and they're going to put this website right at the top of the search engine because the content drives exactly what the user wants, and Google makes money on this because the people that are down here that are advertising, they want to be on the site that's on the top of the page too. And so because we've provided content and got it to the site, Google makes money, you make money, Everybody makes money on somebody that has done a good job at providing great content on their website that ranks and compares to the keyword or the information people are looking for. So that kind of goes around to this whole process of how the SEO is so important to what's happening. So let's talk a little bit about how do we go about doing SEO. Again, I'm trying very hard for this not to be technical. I hope that the people that are very technical, know a lot about SEO, aren't upset because I'm not, talking about algorithms and every other thing. But this is a general presentation, and I wanted everybody to have a chance to do it or to understand. You'll notice over here, keyword research is the first step that I use. Site architecture, or building out your site, is the next thing that has to happen. Development of content is really the next thing that happens. And then over here, link building is the system of getting other websites to come and link to your website because they want a reference. They're building their content on their site. They're making their site look better by saying, I know Charlie Montgomery over on that site, and I know that the content is so good that I'm going to provide a link on my website to his website. And when they do that, my website automatically gains some respect from Google, because not only do they like it because the content's there, but other people like it as well. So those people are telling Google, this guy's okay, let him pass. And so the website ranks at the top. The one that we just saw back here, back here, there's a lot of people that are probably referencing this website here because it makes sense. Okay, so I hope you understand this slide here. These two here are obviously technical. You need, once you get going, you need to understand SEO well enough to be able to analyze what's happening with it, reading reports. So I'm not even talking about that. These are the things that the normal person like you and I can deal with and find good habits and ways to make it work for us. All right. So we have to get our targeted keyword. We already talked about that. And we're just because of the conversation, jobs in California was our keyword. So we get that in mind, we jot it down on a piece of paper, and our whole mission starts from that point right there. Now, this is my preference. This is not the only way, and I'm not trying to tell people that you have to do it this way in any shape or form. But I've learned, when I got started, I was building websites because I felt, geez, I have control of this, I can do it. I really wasn't good at building blogs. But as I started to really understand blogs and spend some time with blogs, I started to realize just how powerful blogs are. A blog is, almost every company that does a blog, they're free. So a WordPress blog, you can put up there for free. It costs nothing to build it. They offer all kinds of templates that you can use so that you can make it easy on yourself, and you can have your website look very professional in about 5 minutes when you're using Blogger or some of the other blog, which are also free. I just happen to work with WordPress because a lot of the things that I do are made available free. Free is the key word here, and WordPress allows us to very easily build an SEO site. Now, if you can remember the slide that I showed you a while ago that had conversation about putting the title in and putting the description of the page and putting in the keywords, that was a little screenshot from one of my WordPress blogs. And every time, I've gotten the habit now of every time I add anything whatsoever, whether it's a blog post, whether it's a picture, whether it's a sentence, whether it's a link, whether it's something in the widget, whatever I do, I always make sure before I do anything else, I put down my SEO information. That way I don't forget to come back. And I carry the keywords throughout everything I do so that on my site I might have 50, 100, 200 representations of the keyword I use. And when Google goes to look at my site, they see that too. And when people are looking for sneakers, they say, Charlie's got a ton of stuff over there, great information about sneakers. We're going to put him up here in one of those 3 slots. And thus the process begins. So I suggest a blog. They love SEO, and they make it easy on us. They make it simple for us to be able to make a blog SEO ready. All right. The next thing comes content development. And I happen to use eZine articles. I'm not pitching eZine articles to you. It's just where I go. It's very simple. I do have a paid version because articles are very important to us. You do have choices to do free content over at eZine or a lot of other places. eZine is very highly accepted, very well ranked by Google. It's a good way to go, in my opinion. You also have videos, and videos are so easy to do and so inexpensive to do. You can be up and doing videos with a really nice camera, HD, for $125 and be posting them right on YouTube probably within an hour and a half. And some of the stuff that's out there is so ridiculous. In fact, the ridiculous ones drive immense amount of traffic because people think they're so funny or weird or stupid or silly or junk or whatever, and they go and watch them. And that's what Google wants, people going to a website that has something on it that they want to see. So articles are one thing, doing video stuff is another. And one of the things that if you get into doing SEO work and you're using blogs, doing posts are very, very powerful and very productive for everybody that's involved. In fact, in the situation that I'm building out and I'm working with and developing, blogs are really one of the key components for myself and for everybody that's part of that process with me. Blogs give you the chance to do a lot of SEO work within them. When you write articles and you do videos and you post blogs, you're always using your keywords in there and you're embedding them as often as you can without being ridiculous. You know, you can't have a sentence that says, I'm looking for jobs in California because I like jobs in California, so I spend time watching for jobs in California because jobs in California are the greatest jobs in California to have. Google's going to read that sentence and say, see you later, because they know you're stuffing and jamming keywords into a sentence. So the process comes, and we saw the slide earlier where we had a list of different things that you can do. We're still going to do those, but we're going to do them and we're going to make them SEO ready, and we're going to make them part of the content that's on our website to drive that whole thing. The next part are backlinks, which we talked about a little bit ago. Backlinks are when somebody recognizes your website and they feel so good about what your website is, they want to link to your website. So they do backlinks, they do links to your website. And this whole linking process, if you think about it, it would be like seeing testimonials on a, on a website or in a book or on a banner outside or on a TV show. The testimonials people put there because people say, this was the easiest piece of software I ever used. I recommend it to everybody. When somebody does a backlink, they're saying the exact same thing. This guy's website or this person's website is really cool. They have some great content. In fact, it's so good that I'm going to put my name on the line and I'm going to recommend you go over there too. Now, they benefit from it as well, as we talked about earlier, because it also gives them a presence of good content on their own sites. In fact, if we went and looked at the California jobs website that we saw before, you'll see a lot of little images there with tons of backlinks to good content that helps make that site even more powerful in its own right. So we have to remember that Google loves backlinks and it loves great content. Remember the Google content change. If you don't serve up good information, if you don't provide content, if you don't provide information that are links, if you don't come from reputable sites, if you're trying to trick somebody, it's not going to work, and Google's just not going to give you a placement in the search engines. There's nothing worse than working at SEO for 6 months and never even moving once on the page because Google has realized that you're trying to circumvent the system. You're not really doing your due diligence. You're not giving it the 100% energy. So here's some things that I want to talk about that, in my opinion, even though I have done and have invested in some of these, they really don't work. And as part of the little phrase that I read to you about Google, those phrases that they talked about of looking for good content and rewarding good content has to do with this practice right here. Now, I'm not trying to put down anybody that uses any of these, and I'm certainly not trying to put down anybody that sells any of the systems, if you happen to be on this call, that sell any of these systems on ClickBank or any place else. And I say that, and believe me, I've spent my share of money buying some of these things to use them, and I still use some of them. But what I find out more and more every day is they just don't work the way they used to. And the reason that they don't work anymore is because Google has started to reference every one of these sites. So if you're using this particular one here, 150,000 backlinks for $255, if you happen to be using that one, you bought into that where that tab was, Google also sees that too. So they go out to that site, they find out what it's about, and they immediately blacklist that site so that anybody that's driving backlinks that have been generated from that site are automatically not helped but hurt because they are not fitting into the algorithm that Google made way back. Just like back in 2009, when Google finally got tired of us writing make $100,000 a month within 3 weeks, when they finally realized that wasn't fair to their consumer, they made a sweep in one weekend. Now, the weekend that happened, I happened to be at a seminar I think I probably was in Las Vegas, and there were 1,200 people at that webinar. And we all got up in the morning, we all went to the meeting, we went to lunch, and everybody was looking at their websites and their leads during lunch. And when they went onto their Google account, they saw all of a sudden they were getting no traffic. And they were able to shut down, I would say 800 of the 1,200 people they caught in one afternoon and put them all down at the same time. And that's because of the algorithm, and they knew what to figure out. So they're doing the same thing now with these kind of links. And if you start to read anything that's coming out right now from these kinds of places, you'll see that everybody is saying buying links does not work anymore. It's one of the things that we tried to do to abuse the system. Nobody wants to go out and try to work to get good links from good reputable sites. That's a waste of time. That's a pain. I mean, that's really hard to get enough links from enough places to help it with the SEO process of your website. So, what you do is you say, well, this is pretty simple. I can spend $255 instead of spending 255 days. I can spend $255 and I can get 150,000 backlinks. And I would love, at the end here, I'm going to give you my email, and I would love for anybody to send me an email and say that you got 150,000 backlinks on any site, because if you did, you could own the whole internet. It just doesn't work that way. It's not realistic. I don't think anybody expects it when you spend $255, but we don't want to do the work, so what we do is we try to buy our way through. We didn't want to write legitimate ads. We didn't want to come up with legitimate keywords that match up to websites. So we wrote these fantastic, unreliable, ridiculous offers, and it worked for a while, but Google eventually caught up to it, because if we destroy their reputation, they lose their business. And trust me, they make so much money, they don't care if you and I are gone. They'll find somebody else, but they're not going to have their reputation destroyed. The next slide is just another one of those processes. I happen to own both of these products. Bought them not really that long ago, and still function with them a little bit. But I don't see any success from these. This is, I can honestly tell you that these two products that I have here have not generated the kinds of SEO traffic or the kinds of content that I want on my website. Have not generated the backlinks that I was looking for, and that's really the only reason that I bought these two things. Sure, these might save some time, but what both of them do is take an article or a post or something that you've written, and it spins it around into different patterns. They jumble up the words. They allow you to substitute some words, and when you get all done, you can have 30, 40, 50, 200, 300 different versions of basically the same thing. So everybody was getting we were getting away with that because Google, wouldn't see the exact same sentence structure. And the only problem is then we started putting them out because we don't want to do the work to post them anyplace. So they would start putting them out to do the exact same thing in the exact same process. Don't want to do the work? Go to these kinds of things. Google catches you and they go, there's somebody that doesn't want to do the work. We're certainly not going to put them at the top of the search engine. So that's how it breaks down. And we as marketers, this is my cry here tonight to everybody here. I promise you that if you did nothing else than make a commitment to yourself for the next 6 months, that you're going to do everything you can to put yourself in a favorable position with Google and all the other search engines by writing good content and linking and getting links from reputable sites. You will see your progress in your websites move along more rapid than you ever did spending the time spinning articles and using article marketing robot to make 4,200 different versions of that same article by changing a letter here, there, a word, or moving the words around. So this is just my thing. I'm not trying to put down anybody that does it. I'm sure there's somebody out here. I always have somebody when I make statements like this that says, well, I did it and it worked for me, and I have 10 sites and they're #1 out there on Google and it works really well. Most of the time that you hear, this is, again, my opinion, most of the time when you hear people talk about how join my SEO group, I'll have your page at the top of the search engine in 24 hours. That does not happen. That just does not happen unless the keyword that's there is such a lightly traveled, low competitive keyword. So somebody that makes a claim like that has picked a keyword that has very low competition. Nobody's trying for the keyword. It has some decent volume. And so it's very, very simple to get your name at the top of the search engine. It also depends on what you happen to search on when you're looking for that person that made it to the top of the search engine. Here's an example. One of the keywords that I work at is the keyword home business ideas. And I built a website so that I could have that name in the website. And it used to be one of the SEO tactics that by having the name of your keyword or your actual keyword in the title of your web page, that Google would give you extra points for that, because it obviously, if the name was in the title or the URL, you obviously were relevant. Well, they don't do that anymore. They don't really care about that. That still has value. It still is important, but only to the point that the rest of the content in your website is there. So my website, Home Business Ideas, to be able to get that name, I stuck the 2 letters TM at the end of homebusinessideas.com. So the whole URL is homebusinessideastm.com. Now, I'll guarantee you, if I put in homebusinessideastm.com, I'll be at the top of every single search engine because nobody else has that term in the URL. And it just automatically puts me in a spot where I'm getting some exposure. But not many people search on that word. And for me to get to the word home business ideas is going to take a lot more work because that is a very highly competitive word. And to get there, I'm going to have content that beats the other people out so that I become competitive and I provide what Google wants. So I hope that makes sense in regards to these tools that we think are really great for us to use, but they don't really provide what we want. So if nothing else, if I save you the money of buying all these and I give you the opportunity to become part of a keyword team and work together as a unit, I think you're going to find it's a much better way to go, and you're going to see some results much faster that are going to be much more powerful than what you're doing right now. So this is really, all of the things I've talked about is really a huge task for one person to do. You know, I don't care who you are, if you're out there, if you're working by yourself, you really have three choices really, to make this work for yourself. What some people do, and my sponsor when I came into online marketing had a statement that he told me, and his statement used to be, if you have more money than time, pay somebody else to do the work. In other words, you got a lot of money, it doesn't matter, you know, you'd rather be on the beach or playing golf or whatever it is. You can have a successful business by putting some of your money back into your business and paying somebody else to build your SEO websites. It's a great way to go. It's very productive. There are some very, very, very smart people out there that can do this, and they will get you rankings on the search engines, and they will generate huge leads for you. It is expensive. But if you're making money and your business operation expenses are favorable, who cares? It's a smart business person to get somebody else to do your work for you. But if you have more time than money, that means you have to get out there. And from my experience, probably the majority of the people on this call fit that category. If you're in online marketing, you're doing any of those things, you fit in that category much sooner. And so you are reliable, you know, your whole SEO experience relies on you and what you can do. So it's not easy to do by yourself, I can tell you, and that was what brought me to the point that I'm at now. I found that if everybody has a collective effort and works together as a team at an SEO project, then your chances of moving up the search engine page on a highly ranked keyword are much, much better. And that means that you're going to start to see some energy, some traffic, some leads. And that's what really, if you go back, this is all about generating leads. You now have the opportunity to go back and get involved that way. So this is my avenue into SEO and helping you and I work together. The website's called Keyword Lead Generation. It's been my little thing that I've been working on here for probably 5 months now. This particular version of the site had started with my building out a site that was there. It was starting to become very effective. I decided that I was going to just gas it up a little bit. So I've hired somebody that actually built this site out, and it just came live today. I pushed them because I wanted this site to be part of what we're doing tonight. Keyword lead generation is everything that I've talked about all night. It's a collaborative effort on everybody's part to dominate keywords that are out there that are primary keywords. Now, if you can get those keywords and you can stick to them and you can join, if you're willing to join a keyword team, and we build out a website and we start to attack those keywords, everybody starts to blog, to make comments on the blog. Any site that we build out that, the Home Business Ideas site is sitting out there, has a lot of blogs on it, has a lot of comments to the blogs, links back to the comments linking back to the people that have their own blogs. The team members link back and forth on that site. And because of all of that traffic and energy, it starts to build a lead flow. It starts to move up the search engine. And because there is so much activity to that site, it fits right into exactly what Google wanted everybody to do. It provides good content. There's no question about it. I don't have one article that's on any site that's been spun or duplicated or replicated. I don't steal content from anybody else. And I basically try to write as many blogs as I can on a daily basis that are content related to whatever site and the keyword is. And then the people on the team come in and comment on that, and then they go back on their own website and they write a blog post about what they read on mine. And while they're writing it, they link back to the post that was on the keyword site. So Google sees all that energy and all that traffic, and if you have 50 to 100 people that are doing that, it's not long before these major keywords are moving up the search engine and putting themselves in a place where they're starting to get their line share of the 85% of those top 3 slots. And that is the goal of everything that we do here at keywordleadgeneration.com. So everybody on the team, the teams are built out of anywhere from 50 to 100 people. Every website is focused on one keyword. It sounds kind of expensive, and it is. And, what I do is I pay to have a very attractive, very well-built SEO website that's set up to focus on a single keyword. And everybody that's in the team starts to build content that relates to that keyword. And we go back and forth, just as I said. With everybody working together, the fruit on the tree is the sharing of the leads that are there. So keyword lead generation is built around a lead rotating system that if you're a member of a keyword team, and let's say there were 10 of you and we had 100 leads come in, everybody would get 10 of those leads. It rotates around through the system. And we're getting quality leads. We're getting leads that everybody can use. The leads are sent to you as an email, or you can opt to have them plugged into your Aweber or your iContact or wherever it is that you keep your leads put to. And it becomes a very good way to get going. There's a free offer for this Sticky Organic Manual that's on the website, and I'm just going to touch base with that in just one moment. So here's my offer to you. This is for the next 24 hours. If you have any interest in anything I've said, or you feel that it's something that's a little bit of a change for what you've been doing and you'd like to have a different way to approach generating leads, I'm willing to offer you that anybody that wants to sign up, and you don't even really have to buy anything. If you just want to visit with me and provide your name as a lead source, I'm going to spend 20 minutes with you. I'm willing to look at your website and talk to you about your SEO keyword strategies on that website. I'll talk to you about what I think we can do that can make a change that would be helpful to you. Anybody that wants to come in and join a keyword team, or if we build out one that's around enough people that have a concept there, I'm willing to allow you to come in on that first month for $25, which is a third of what it would normally cost on a monthly basis. Now, earlier I talked about the price of a keyword to anybody that would be like an insurance person. Spending $50 on a lead is not something that's out of the realm for those kinds of people. Internet marketers, we're used to spending anywhere from $5 to $7.50. So for $75 a month, that's a very, very small expense. And I've actually built in some affiliate commissions that can allow you to be a member of a monthly keyword team for just $25 a month and be receiving residuals for other members that you bring in on the team behind you, maybe members of your own team or whatever it is. If you'd like to be a team leader, I've also made a situation for that, which requires you to take more responsibility, but it also rewards you with a much larger income. A team leader is somebody that probably is out there that already has a large team. Your team is focused on home business or whatever it is, and so you're going to come to me. We're going to set up a plan. We'll get your keyword. I like to control the building of the website because that way I can lock it into the lead rotation system. I can maintain all that. But you're going to be rewarded. You're going to do the blogging and all that, where if I have a team member, my team's going to do the blogging, and that's the way we go. So the bonus, you can see that you get a discount coming in. I'm going to spend 20 minutes with you in a free consultation. You will get a call as soon as you go through the lead capture situation. You will get a call from my partner. Her name is Jenny Ferns, and she'll call you and schedule an appointment for us to have that talk. I'm looking forward to hearing about all the things that people have to say. There's an ebook. You'll get an email as soon as you put your name in the lead capture system. You'll get a small an email that'll come along that'll give you a link to pick up that book. And this book really talks about a lot of the things that we base the system on. Not everything's in there that does it. There's a lot of information on SEO, organic marketing, and I think you'll find it very valuable. So if you have any interest in all the things I've talked about, or you are looking for a new path and you want to try something different, come on over to my blog, charlesmontgomery.com. Maybe some of you have already been there. Also, you can get there by blog.charlesmontgomery.com. But charlesmontgomery.com, it's pretty simple. When you get there, there's a lead capture over on the right-hand side, and I've made it special for the next 24 hours. It'll be there. And it relates to the Hilton Johnson webinar. I would want your name, your email, and your phone number. Most people sometimes don't want to give it, but I don't have any way for Jenny to call you if you don't give me that information. There's also a comment box. I would love to have any feedback whatsoever. And I can tell you honestly, your feedback is important to me because it's feedback I can share with other people. So if you have something really great to say, I would love to hear it so I can put it on my website. If you think my webinar tonight stunk, well, I'd like to read it, but I probably won't put it on my website. Just a joke. I don't get many of those, but I would love to have some feedback as we go through the process. So you want to head over to charlesmontgomery.com, and we go through the process here. I'm going to be out as fast as I can with a 20-minute consult with you to discuss what your interest is, what you're trying to do, take a look at your website for you, maybe offer some just suggestions that will be helpful, and we go from there. I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed the call here tonight. I've learned a lot doing my own webinar because just preparing for a webinar like this forces you out to gain more information. And I'm really looking forward to the calls that I have with all of you because I know every one of those calls is going to be something where I'm going to get a little gem out of that call as well. So thanks for attending the webinar. Team building is very powerful and has the ability to produce fantastic results. Get over here, get on a team, and do your share, and I think you're going to be amazed with what happens. We've come to the top of the hour. I'm right on it right now, and again, I want to thank everybody for being here, and I'm looking forward to us sharing some time in the future. Hope everybody's well. Have a great night, and really, thanks for being here. It's an awesome experience. Bye.